7 returning players this year. How do you expect your team to perform this season?
Better than 5th, hopefully. We have a lot of the same, but we have some new. So I think the guys are optimistic that the season will go well, but I think also with the WAC championship being back in Texas for the first time in a while, we're going to have more of an advantage there. So I'm excited. I think everybody else feels the same way. We're going to North Carolina this week with a little bit of a new lineup, so here we go.
And you have 2 new freshmen added to the team this season. How are you expecting them to perform this season?
Yeah, I think they'll perform well. Obviously, Max Clark comes from New Zealand. There's an adjustment period that comes with that. But both will play a role for us. Brady almost made the very first tournament for us this week. Both are great additions to our program. They fit into ACU very well. And we're looking forward to their contribution for the next few years.
Yeah, and then obviously returning players last year from like Colin Leonard, Preston DeFriend. How do you expect them to perform this year as more leaders on this team?
Yeah, we're going to count on them pretty heavy. They're both, all those guys are excellent young men, fine leaders, great ambassadors for ACU, but they've also had really good summers playing golf, so we hope that carries over to our fall season.
And then obviously Jamie Lewis is on the team this year out of eligibility. How big of a loss is he not being on the team this year?
I think everybody wants to not lose their best player to graduation, but he's still going to be around as a grad assistant for the fall semester, so he's still going to be able to really impart some wisdom to our team. We are going to miss his score. Hopefully we've added a new grad transfer, Trace Hill, that will help mitigate that loss a little bit. But yeah, Jamie's going to be a hard one to replace. He had a great career here.
And then just overall this season, what is like the most tournaments you're looking forward to as a coach and as the team?
We have a busy fall schedule with 5 tournaments. The spring has some new ones, some old ones. I think the guys have targeted on their calendar going to SMU, Trinity Forest. It's always a big event for us. And Little Rock's a new one. We have Ohio State and Seattle. That's one of our favorite tournaments of the year in late March. So I think those are kind of the highlights of our schedule. But I think the big one's going to be the WAC championship back in Texas.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I think Hayden took most of my questions, but you touched on Tress, bringing him in and everything. What do you see him adding to this program, not only from a performance perspective, but also a leadership aspect as well?
Yeah, he's older, he's more experienced. He won 6-7 times at Oklahoma City. He's just used to being really good. And that all of our guys are really good, but Trace has been there, done that. So I think the guys are going to look up to him because I think he expects to win. He expects to perform at a high level, and that can really be advantageous, especially for our young kids that are on the team.
You touched on earlier also, but bring back 7 returners from whether it's sophomores in Jack and Colin or Gregory after earning all WAC second team honors last season. You bring back a lot of experience there as well. How do you kind of looking to them to take that next step forward, not only on the course but from a leadership aspect as well?
Yeah, I think there's some expectation levels for those guys individually that they have. We have to manage that pretty well because expectations can restrict you in some ways. But Greg has come out of the gates fast this fall in our qualifying and has been our leading player so far. But I'm excited. I think our guys coming back, they've played a lot of the same courses that we played in tournaments. So we're not going to be. I don't think we're going to sneak up on anybody this year. I think we'll be considered the favorite in a lot of events that we play in. So that's a new thing for our guys. So we'll see how they handle that. But I think we're ready for it.
On that same note, I believe you returned to 4 tournaments that you took part in last season, and there's some others like the JT Boston, the Little Rock tournament that you all competed in the past. Talk about the advantage there, having that familiarity with those courses, and then also, like you mentioned earlier, the WAC championship being back in Texas. How has that been beneficial to y'all?
I think some of our guys have not played, even though the team has played. We have some young guys that have never seen those courses before. So it's interesting for me as a coach to see, like Little Rock, we haven't been there in a while, and to see this year's version of our team play the course compared to 4 years ago's team, it'll be interesting to see how we've changed over that time. The WAC's a big deal for us. We feel like we're the best team in the conference. Other teams probably don't want to hear that, but they're going to have to deal with it. But we still have to perform. What looks good on paper, you have to make that into reality. So I think not having to go to Arizona or out west and play into the hands of the Western teams will help us at the conference. And it's a course that a lot of our guys have played before. And I have extensive experience with when we were in the Southland Conference. So we feel pretty good about that.
I know every other team can say this, but being the final season of the WAC conference, does that add any additional motivation maybe going into the tournament this season, come springtime?
Honestly, no. It's our most likely ticket to the NCAA regionals, and so they see it as that. I mean, the WAC's one thing, but it could be any conference, and I think your conference championship is the biggest tournament for you. So our guys will be plenty motivated, whether it's the WAC's last year or first year.